Hello! Have you been here before? Are you new? Either way, you're welcome to this space. My name is Angel, thank you for dropping by. It's lovely to see you. I fancy doing, I don't know if it's a tag, it might be a tag. Who knows, we shall see. I fancy honouring my channel name, Feeding My Soul 1212, and starting the 12 deck tarot tag. There are 4 prompts. I'm terrible at maths. There are 4 prompts, and I'm going to be showing 3 decks for each prompt. Now, here are the rules. The rules are to this tag. The rules are there ain't no rules. Do you know where that reference is from? It's from Greece. The rules are there ain't no rules. You do you, boo. So if you decide to show 2 decks for the first prompt and 6 decks for the next prompt, you do you. It's totally up to you. Or you might want to show, 2 decks for each prompt and then add your own prompts. I think the rule is that there are going to be 12 decks that are going to be shown in this tarot tag. Does that make sense? I think it's going to make sense as we go along. Yeah, let's get straight into it. We're doing groups of 3 for me. I'm showing 3 decks in it for each of the prompts, and it started off. This tag was born. It was birthed from this deck. Let's get into it. So prompt number 1 is 3 decks that you couldn't wait to use the minute you got them. So you couldn't even wait to rip off the plastic before they even arrived in your hand. You were that, you were like biting at the bit, ready to use the decks. And this tag came about because of this deck, which is the Curious Traveller's Tarot. And initially, when I first got it, I was planning on putting it away for Christmas and birthday, and it had made it into my cupboard for that reason. But then it started calling to me. It was like, woohoo, yoo-hoo, I think you need to use me now. You need me in your practice now. I've got something to tell you now. Love this card. So I was kind of thinking about, decks that have arrived in my collection that I felt the need to use straight away, because there are some that, I've been felt really drawn to when I've purchased them. And then they've come to the door and I've been like, yeah, but there's no rush to use them now. Their time will come. And there are even decks that I still have on my shelf that I purchased right at the beginning of my practice 5 years ago, which I would say that I haven't used. I've looked through them, I've shuffled them, but I haven't felt the need to actually use them in my practice. But this deck, this had other plans for me. So although it was supposed to be a deck that I started, or got, was able to use at the end of the year when my birthday and Christmas turns up, it got a look in way, way sooner. Love this Empress card, it's beautiful. Than I had planned or even imagined. So yeah, that was the first deck. The first deck that I wanted to use the second it came through the door. Beautiful backs. Beautiful cards. I'm using this month for my Dark Passenger in a child work, and it's been so beautiful, so supportive, so gentle with me. I really appreciate the fact that I felt the call to bring this into my collection, and I'm glad I followed my intuition to start using it right now, because I clearly needed to, to be supported through this work that I'm doing currently within my practice. Deck number 2, prompt number 1. The second deck that I could not wait to get the plastic off and start using was this one. This is Cries of the Souls Oracle deck. Let me show you the box so you can see. This was a deck that I purchased at the same time as I purchased the Curious Traveller's Tarot. So this one had also made it into my cupboard. This is illustrated by Daphne Sibane, I want to say. And the guidebook is by Isabel Surf or Curve. I hope I've said that correctly. This is a Rockpool deck, mass market. This is phenomenal. This is really, really great deck. And it started calling to me at the same time as the Curious Traveller's Tarot. And I just thought, I'm supposed to be saving these for birthday or Christmas. But, as mentioned, I do listen to my intuition, and I've been trying to listen to my intuition even more recently. The last month and a half, I would say, I've really been trying to listen to my soul and feed it accordingly. And so when I felt the call to this one, I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to pull it out. So what? So I don't have it for Christmas or birthday. And I clearly need it now. And this deck is absolutely amazing. I've been thinking about this deck quite a lot because I've been working with it again this month for my Dark Passenger work, and I kind of feel in some ways that this deck, I would say it kind of falls into the same category as my Reclaim Oracle. I've mentioned the Reclaim Oracle previously. I find the Reclaim Oracle really hard hitting, and this is just me personally. I'm just giving my opinion. I think the Reclaim Oracle, I've experienced that it brings up things, but then I don't really know where to go with those things that it brings up for me. So I'm kind of they're kind of brought to the forefront. They're here, okay, I see it, but now I don't really know what to do with that. Whereas this deck, I feel with the guidebook is like amazing. I feel that the guidebook is very supportive and kind of, it almost gives you a I find it very supportive, and it's almost like this path that you can kind of follow. In my opinion, again, this is just the way I experience this deck, but I feel that this deck doesn't just bring up what the emotion is or what the shadow is, but it kind of explains or shows you or gives you prompts or gives you a bit of a nudge as to where you can continue to work with that thing that's been brought forward. Does that make sense? I really hope so. This is the deck, as mentioned, that brought up my Dark Passenger, and I've gone off on a total tangent, a total crooked path with it, and I've made some amazing leaps and bounds this month, and basically the last week and a bit with my Dark Passenger and Inner Child. I keep teasing you with a video. I haven't decided how I'm going to film the video about my Dark Passenger and Inner Child, but when the flash of inspiration comes to me, I will film it. I promise. It's on my to film list. But I want to do it justice, because this has been it's opened me up to things, and I feel a peace. Oh, this sounds really woo-woo. Oh, I feel such an inner peace, but I really do. I feel such an inner peace that I haven't felt. I can't even tell you when. I can't even tell you when I felt this inner peace that I feel now. And it's not all because of this deck, but it's the Curious Traveller's deck, it's the Hush Tarot, it's guidance from my deity, it's listening to this inner voice that I have been ignoring, it's been feeding my soul. Yeah, it's a whole combination of things, and obviously it's a 5-year journey that I've been on, I think, that's led me to this moment. Oh, that went a bit deep, sorry. But let me just tell you, this deck is amazing. It's a mass market deck, and I don't tend to recommend decks on my channel. I recommend this one completely, 100%, 150%. I recommend it. If you want to look into some things that maybe feel a bit uncomfortable, this is a really supportive deck to do that with, in my opinion. But this is just my opinion, so don't take my word as gospel. But take it with a pinch of salt. But these are my thoughts and feelings. Third deck that I couldn't wait to rip off the plastic when I got it through the door. Well, that would be the Oracle of Novice Witches, mass market. I pulled this one into my collection because I saw a couple of images on Instagram, and I was like, ooh, I really, really fancy that deck. And then I saw a couple more cards, and there was John Dee in the deck, there was William Blake, there was Aleister Crowley, and a couple of other cards which I mentioned previously, very recently, that I had been falling down some rabbit holes with, and I was like, oh, I need to get that deck. And I've been using it. I used it last month. I used it the second it came for the door. I could not wait to rip the plastic off and to start using it, because it was like, oh, I am so intrigued. Tell me. Give me the messages that this deck needs to give me. I need to know them. I need to hear them, and I'm ready for them. And so I've been using this oracle a bit like, I'm going to say a bit like a daily draw, but for an oracle, not obviously, not tarot. And I've been really, really enjoying it. And the guidebook is actually, I really like it. What can I say? I'm going to say that it's not particularly in depth. May I show you the guidebook? I did show you the guidebook recently in another video. Love this as well, could I just say. Ooh, black cat, love that. Yeah, John Dee, for instance. So it kind of you know, it gives you a bit of a backstory or a bit of a history about the character, and then it gives you what the card actually means. So in a reading, so it says this card reminds us to pay attention because there can be many misunderstandings, and the true vocation often requires one to embark on a long solitary journey. Oh, love that. I also fell down. I fell down the rabbit hole with John Dee because of the Red Goddess book, which I mentioned about recently in my butterfly book tag video. So I'll link that so you can hear a bit more about that and about that book. That book is absolutely phenomenal. Yes, we're never going to get through this. We've got 9 decks more to go, and we've got 3 more prompts. So let's get to it. So prompt number 2, 3 decks in your collection that have not or are not calling to you. You just can't see yourself using them anytime soon. They're just, for whatever reason, they are just not resonating. So we're starting with Fairy Tarot. This one's by Natalie Hertz. This is a US game systems deck, mass market. I got this I think about 4 years ago, and I got it before, like, you know, this became really popular. Did I show the backs? These are the backs. And I modified mine because I didn't like the borders. And I do feel that they had these like coloured borders all the way around. And I remember definitely chopping them off, which I thought would help me, you know, bond with the deck and want to use the deck. But it just hasn't. And it's just been sitting in my whimsical basket, I'm going to say, or with my whimsical decks since then. I love this strength card. That's really beautiful. And I just think maybe I don't work with Fae energy, and I don't feel that this whimsical Fae fantasy, if I can say that in inverted commas, artwork is speaking to me at the minute. Although I do love this tower and I love the mushroom because that's what really resonated for me at the minute. Yeah, and it's just not resonating for me. And I think that is because last year in Dawn Michelle's practice, I used a lot of fantasy decks, and I think I've kind of just maybe want to take a bit of a break this year from you know, from that genre of decks. And so other decks are obviously being used, which is also a good thing, you know, because obviously, you know, when some decks aren't being used, which means that other decks get the chance to shine on my table. But I don't know if this is ever going to shine for me and ever call to me. It's not at the minute. Do you have this deck? I know I've seen quite a few people on TarotTube speaking about it, and they're like really sing the praises of it. But I don't know. You know, not every deck is for me. This is beautiful. You know, that's just the way it is, isn't it? And you know, I think when I purchased this one, I was more in the what's the word, in the moment of, like, you know, falling for the hype. I was like, you know, oh, if you know, if I see that on TarotTube or on Instagram, I was like, oh yeah, you know, I really want that. And I do, although sometimes it doesn't sound like it, I do try not to do that so often. Now I've got 2 more decks for this prompt, so let's get into those. So the next deck that's totally not speaking my speak is the Tarot of the Divine. This is a mass market deck. It's beautiful. The production quality is beautiful in this deck. And initially, when I first got it, I thought that I wasn't using it because the guidebook doesn't go into the stories of the images in the deck. But I purchased the bigger book, and that hasn't helped either. And I don't know what it is, because the cardstock is lovely, it shuffles beautifully, the artwork is absolutely, you know, it's just gorgeous. And if you've followed me for any moment of time, you'll know that I really like working with fairy tales within my practice, and I really like flipping the narrative of the fairy tale. So, you know, looking at stories from, you know, the villains, I'm going to say, perspective. And I don't know if it's because I don't maybe recognise as many of these fairy tales or mythologies. Maybe that's what it is as well. Or perhaps it's just not been its time to shine. This is amazing. So yeah, as mentioned, the images are absolutely gorgeous, and it's going nowhere. None of these decks are on the chopping block. They are in they're in no danger of being rehomed or reownered. Reownered, give it a new owner. Although I do feel that decks are like cats. They don't have owners, they have staff. They have beings that are just honoured to serve them, and that's a bit the way I feel with the tarot. Actually, I love this. It's just these decks are honouring me with their presence, and giving me their messages. That's how I feel about tarot. They're almost like cats to me. Last deck is this one, which is a second-hand deck that I found on super duper, what's it called, web shop that I peruse and I search. This is a German deck, and I do believe it's a Kickstarter, and it's actually a game, and I have never played it. This is the type box, I think is delectable, and as far as I can remember, because I haven't looked at it for such a long time, a person goes missing in the forest, I feel, and the game is to find where this person went, and it's like a bit of not a whodunit, because obviously the person hasn't been found unalive, but it's like a quest. It's like a game. Yeah, it's a bit like a role-playing game, but not. It's a role-playing game with tarot. Anyway, I just haven't had the not the brain power, but just, look at this, it's gorgeous. Not the brain power, but just like the time to invest in a game, which you could ask why I even bought this deck, but, it's a bit like I want it in my collection for when the time is right. When the time is right. It's gorgeous. If you have this deck, which I do believe was originally printed in English, don't quote me on that either. Never take my word as gospel in my videos, just FYI. These are just my humble opinions. But I just wonder, if you have this deck, let me know. Have you played the game? Have you completed it? Is it a good game? Let me know. I'd be intrigued. So yeah, I'm not really sure you could use this as a regular tarot. I think it's literally just for the game. But it's very interesting, I think. So yeah, let me know. These are the backs. Did I show you? So at the moment, this deck is definitely not calling to me. It's not on the chopping block. It is in no danger. It is going nowhere. And at some point or another, I will very much enjoy investing my time and playing the game. But until that time, it's going to stay on my shelf watching me while I indulge my time with other decks in my practice. So prompt number 3 decks that I want to go deep with. You want to deep study them. It could be a new system, it could be just a new deck that you want to get to know really, really well. And this is a scrumptious choice, I think. This is the Rota Mundi Tarot. This is going to be a whole process. If you've been watching my channel recently, you know that I am studying, looking into the Tree of Life. And these cards, well, actually, let me tell you, I haven't even looked like deeper than just looking at the cards. This deck and the guidebook is chock full of information about the Tree of Life and the paths and the pillars, all the goodness. And so this definitely deserves a deep dive. Now, my plan is with this deck is to create my own Tree of Life poster or artwork, but very large. I'm going to have on my wall, and I've even purchased for that poster. I'm going to add, all the information for all the Zephyrs. Is that what it's called? Zephyrah, for the individual Zephyrah. I think that's the way it's pronounced. All the information which I can then add to as I go by and as I learn more and more about the Tree of Life. And I've even purchased this deck, a tiny tarot, to add to that poster, to that artwork. So it's going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be like, the length of me, like I'm 5'6" on a good day. And I think, I want to create a really large poster, or artwork that I can then pop on my wall with all this goodness, all this information that I can add to as I go along and as I learn more and more about the Tree of Life. Does that make sense? And yeah, so I'm going to obviously, use this deck not as a tarot deck, not to shuffle and to use for readings, but to have, so they coincide with the Zephyrah, the cards, the paths, Does that make sense? I hope so. That's my plan in any case. So yeah, that's an ongoing project. I want to deep dive the brains out of this deck. And the book is just, it looks phenomenal. Dare I show you? I think I dare. So this is never going to be used as a normal tarot deck. It's got lots of goodies in here. Let's see if I can go to the, what's it called? The contents page. So we've got history, development, structure of the tarot, assigning meanings to the card. Then we've got all the numbers, all the different paths, which are the majors. Then we go into the court cards. It doesn't really say any more than that, but it's got like, it's chock full of, you know, the different paths and the Hebrew letters, and oh, it's just num num num. I'm salivating as I flick through this book, to be honest. I don't know what this is, but I need to know. I don't know what this is, but I need to know. So looking forward to it. So looking forward to it. And I'm not, you know, I'm not looking to, you know, what's the word? Absorb the information and be able to retain it. I do not, you know, I do not pretend to be able to retain information. I read it, I'm interested, and then, you know, when something else takes my interest, unfortunately, you know, I have to make room in my brain and the information, you know, disappears. But I do enjoy the whole journey of learning about something new. And this is going to be a total deep dive. So I'm going to be deep diving the brains out of this deck. The next two choices are not so serious. No, I don't know. Let's get into it. So I realised there is actually a little bit of a theme going on here, and I'm going to continue by telling you that this deck in this bag is the Liberty Tower of Stars Eternal. And I've just come up on an epiphany now whilst I'm putting this forward to show you that I tend to put decks in bags if I feel intimidated by them or like overwhelmed by them, to make them feel more approachable to me. I know, it's all bizarre, but this is like it's a soft squidgy bag, and I was thinking by putting this deck in this bag, it might make it feel a bit more, you know, welcoming or, you know, available to me. This is, as mentioned, the Liberty Tarot, and I've edged mine in green when I first got them. I found, as I mentioned really very recently, the Thoth Tarot, which obviously this is inspired by Thoth, or it's a Thoth deck, and I found the Thoth deck really so overwhelming. I had it on this like really unreachable pedestal, as I've mentioned previously. And I just felt this deck felt a bit gentler, a bit, you know, less spiky, less brittle. The artwork felt a little bit softer. You know, it's a bit more rounded. You know, the figures are a bit more forgiving, and there is a bit more in the cards to read off of, if I can put it that way. It's got some, you know, it's got some interesting information here. We've got, I'm assuming this is the Hebrew letters here. I don't know anything about that, I'm afraid. And it's in several languages, and you've also got the what's that word? I can't think of the word. I'll put it on the screen because I'm having a bit of a squiffy brain fog. I can't think. I love this. Oh, I love this card so much. Yes, so there is a bit of a theme running through it with, you know, the Thoth and the Tree of Life, and, you know, yeah, all the goodness. The zodiac signs, maybe. That's the word I was looking for. What was I just about to say? Oh, and what I was actually going to say was, which I just came up on this yesterday, I was watching Antoinette's Tarot and Jewelry, I think their channel name is. They were doing a live to my hashtag Show Us Your Decks again, and they showed this deck, and they mentioned that they had some videos saved, and they spoke about a book that this deck is based around, which I never knew, but which is not covered, or I don't think is covered in the guidebook. And I don't believe, to my knowledge in any case at the minute, that there is a more extended guidebook to this. If there is, please let me know in the comment section. I would love to know. And so I can't think what Antoinette said now, but I did go in and I looked up some videos on YouTube based around what they were speaking about in their Show Us Your Decks Again video live. And so I've got some videos saved to watch, which somehow relates back to this deck. Was that totally unhelpful information? Possibly. So I really want to deep dive this one as well. This is currently being used as a study deck with my Thoth casual study, I'm going to say. I don't want to do anything like in-depth, intense, and have to... I'm not the kind of person that... Well, actually, wait, I'm lying to myself. I am the kind of person that goes, you know, balls to the wall with things. But I do have that Knight of Wands energy whereby I'm like, oh, I'm in it to win it. I'm all in. And then the spark kind of like, it's all like really intense at the beginning and it kind of just fizzles out. And so I don't want to do that with this. I want to take it at a slower pace and be a bit more mindful and a bit more thoughtful, and you know, I'm in it for the long haul, not for the sprint to the finish line. Oh, does that make more sense? I really hope so. This is a deck I want to deep dive. I've got one more. There is a bit of a theme. Let's get to it. The Telesma Tarot is the next deck I want to deep dive. I showed this one recently. I showed this in my pre-love deck haul. I'll link that in the description box if you'd like to see. And I got this one off of a Vinted for an amazing price. I've drooled over this deck many times, and I've seen it on their Instagram or like a tarot tube, and I never ever thought I'd be able to get my hands on it. This is still in order because, as mentioned, I haven't started using it, haven't started reading with it. I want to deep dive it. I want to deep dive with it in a bit of a more of a casual way, and I'm thinking I want to deep dive it like I did with the Ritual Tarot, and I used Kelly Bear's hashtag Tarot Advent project for that. And so I'm thinking I want to, you know, create a paper bag journal or some kind of, you know, junk journal. And I want to really study the deck, but in a casual way. So I'm thinking I'm going to like maybe draw 3 cards a day for 25 days, you know, I set it out in Kelly Bear's project, and, you know, maybe like build a Spotify list around it one day, or, you know, choose a song, for instance, one day, or write poetry for it the next day, or just deep study the cards another day, write a story, create some artwork, you know, different for each day, and just do a general reading one day as well. So I think that's the plan. I love this 9 of coins. I think that's gorgeous. So I think I want to do it a bit, it's a bit more casual than the Liberty Tarot study, and it's most definitely a lot more casual than the Rotamundi Tarot study I want to do. But I just think it'd be really fun because, you know, it gives me the chance to kind of look at all the cards in detail at my own pace. And I do love creating a good paper bag journal, you know. So yeah, let's end on that one. King of Swords, why not? So yes, so yeah, those were 3 decks that I want to deep study the brains out of. I love the backs of these. I love them. Love. Pre-love deck. So happy I've got my sticky mitts on it. Should we go to the last prompt and the last 3 decks? Let's. Okay, so the last prompt is 3 decks that you would like to use by the end of the year. So by the end of 2025. So they are on your end of year to be read tarot to be read list. Oh, lordy lord. Okay, the first one is the Margaret Peterson Tarot. This is a second-hand deck that I found. I do have the other version that has the lighter borders around the edges. These are the backs, which are the same as the other version with the lighter borders. But I think that this deck is warmer. It feels more, I don't know, it just feels different to me. And I got it for an excellent price. Can't remember if I got it on eBay or if I got it on my super duper online shop. I can't remember. I don't remember. You know, I bought, I get my hands on, I'm very lucky to get my hands on so many secondhand decks that I just, you know, it all becomes a blur of where I've got them from. But I think the artwork is absolutely stunning. And I'm interested to know if this one reads differently compared to the other one with the lighter borders around. And I'm wondering, when I got this, when I was looking for decks for this prompt, the decks I want to use for the end of the year, I wonder if this might go with the Telesma Tarot, that one I just showed you recently. I wonder if those two might go together, because this one feels there's obviously a lot going on in the artwork, but it's not the same busyness in the same way as the Telesma Tarot, sorry. So I just wonder if they might pair nicely. Oh, I think that might be an opportunity there to use both of them together. Dare I be as bold? I do. She who dares wins. I'm gonna be naughty. And sorry, and look at this. Also, I edged these when I got the deck in bronze. Isn't that gorgeous to match the backs and the fronts? Oh, that was such a great choice, Angel. What a great choice. I'm playing with pairs. I'm sorry. I'm being a cheeky so-and-so. Okay, so if you've got the Telesma, I'm not sure how you say it, but I'm wondering if they might work together, and it might be a very nice idea or a nice way to get both out on my desk before the end of the year. Although I don't doubt this one's going to come out for a deep dive. Oh, look at me letters, sorry. The Empress with the 7 of coins. 4 of swords with trial. Now, I don't know if this is going to pair. They might bomb. But it would be really cool if they did, and then I could get them out together. 7 of Wands with the 8 of Feathers, which I think is, I believe, is Swords. 8 of Wands with the Daughter of Coins. I don't know, or whether this is going to be too abstract. I don't know. 4 of Coins with the 7 of Feathers. Wait. Sorry, I just need to get this one shuffled quickly. Sorry to keep you waiting. Please bear with me one moment. Okay, how does this deck feel about working with the Telesma Tarot? How does this deck feel about working with the Telesma Tarot? We're going to go with this one because it feels like it wants out. The Mother of Coins. Oh, that's positive. I like that. Okay, yes. 3 of Coins with the 4 of Flames. I don't know. What are we thinking? What are we feeling through the camera? Let me know. It might be a possibility. The 2 of Coins with the Ace of Feathers. Last one. Here we go. This is the last one because there are some risque images in this one. I don't want to offend anybody. 10 of Cups with the 4 of Coins. All right, last one. Sorry. We're gonna stop here. We're stopping. Okay, I'm gonna have a think about this one, but these two might well. This one that's definitely going to show up. Before the end of the year. This one might well, hopefully. Will show up in at the end of the year, possibly with another pairing. Let's get to the last 2 decks because otherwise we're going to be here forever. Okay, so deck number 2 of a deck on my to be read list before the end of the year is this one. This is the Lilith Queen of the Night Oracle Grimoire. This was a Kickstarter that I got in at the beginning of the year. They came edged out the box in black, and I had this on my list to be used. Maybe it was back in January, February. I can't really remember, and I didn't get to it because it wasn't calling to me. Should we what's the word? Focus in a wee bit. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Okay, so it comes with a guidebook, which is quite a chunky monkey. There's a lot going on here. We've got how many cards have we got? That's a great question. Let me show you the back of the box as well. Did I mention this as a new deck? I think I did. I'm not really sure how many cards there are because I didn't look at that beforehand. But if I flip that up, then I shall put it on the screen for you here. How many are there? You are more than wise than I am. So yes, I would really like to get this one out for some use on my desk. I like it that there is this title, and then you've got like this key phrase or this jumping off point. So we've got cauldron, magic. My psychic powers are a gift. I stir the cauldron of my soul and burn limiting beliefs. Oh, I like that I just chose that one to read out. That was very apt. Pomegranate, abundance. My thoughts are fertile ground where seeds of abundance bloom into thriving life of success. Yeah, so I'd really like to get it out. I'm going to say to you that I'm not working with Lilith at the minute. Possibly that's why I haven't worked with this so far, since I got it. But I would really like to get it out and to give it a bit of an airing. And I think it's got quite a bit of a chance because my dark decks, my dark decks, they've been like winning out this year. I've been embracing my darker side. So yeah, I think this has got more of a chance to, see the light of day than maybe some of my colourful decks that I would also really like to get out, but just are not going to be working for me, I don't think. So yeah, I would really like to get this one out and have a bit of a play. This is a great deck also. It kind of represents the indie decks in my collection that haven't had time on my desk this year. So it's not just this one; it's my indie decks in general. I'd like to get out to play with. I'm going to link a video below. I did a video my decks I would like to use before my next birthday. So there are quite a few choices on there as well that I'd really like to get to. Is that going to happen? We're already in August. We've only got 4 months left of the year. And, there's other things that are grabbing my attention. We shall see. I will link that video in the description box if you'd like to look. One more deck that I would like to get out and use before the end of 2025. Let's get to it. So the last deck I would love to get out by the end of 2025 on my to be read 2025 list is the Alchemical Visions tarot deck. This is a hefty deck. Look at this beauty. Ta-da! It's a big one. Oh, I've brought this one out a wee bit here and there throughout the year. Sorry, these are the backs. I think they're stunning. But I haven't done a deep dive with it. I would like to do again some kind of, paperback bag journal kind of thing, malarkey idea, and and do a deep dive with it. So I really hope to get to it. I wonder if this deck might also pair really nicely with the Dream Song. What's the word? Dream Song Oracle. What do we think? Dare I pair it? We'll do a last playing with pairs. I promise you. The guidebook is it's a lot of information going on in the guidebook. The cards are stunning. Where's the deck gone? It's here because I'm using it this month. Here we go. This is an Angie Sullins deck. I just get the feeling this might pair nicely. I mean, look, there's a bit of a difference in size, and we're going to do this. But what do we think? I think they might pair nicely. I mean, look. Remember who you are with the 8 of coins. Okay, I'm not going to keep it too long. Death with tell a new story. Oh my goodness me, that's great. Isn't it though? This is a bit of a dream song pairing. Let's take a couple more. We've got 8 of swords with inhale permission, exhale relief. I like this, look. Got this. That could be reaching, but we've got the world with grab your monsters by the tail. I love that. I so love this deck. I'm using it this month in connection with the Hush Tarot. Craft your focus with the 6 of swords. Ooh, I'm thinking there's something in here, is there not? And I think the artwork it's got this kind of oldie worldy kind of vibe, I think. And I think that really works with this. 7 of swords with shed the tears. Interesting. Okay, we're going to take a couple more. We've got 10 of wands with enter the conversation. 10 of wands with enter the conversation. Okay, last one. 6 of coins with tend the roots of oh, I should have stopped. I should have ended on top. I should have done the mic drop and ended the video. Tend the roots of reciprocity. Oh my goodness me. You're saying it to yourself and you're laughing because I'm an nincompoop. We're going to stop there. But I think this is a definite pairing. I like it a lot. Okay, we are done and dusted. Don't forget the rules. The rules are there ain't no rules. Wait, there is one rule. The rule is that you're going to show 12 decks. But if you choose to show 2 decks for each prompt that I've put in and then put your own prompts and show 2 decks, you do you, boo. Or show 3 for every prompt, or show 2 for one and 4 for another and 3 for another. You do you. The rules are there ain't no rules. Yeah, if you decide to do this tag, don't forget to tag me. I would love to watch your choices and hear about the decks that you want to be using, are not called to use, or even used the minute they dropped onto your mat when they came into your collection. That's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Take care, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Toodaloo.